Well, my friend Paula told a story the other day, a ghost story, which I thought was very compelling, and I will link it down in the information below. But anyway, it reminded me at one spot of a story I want to tell you that is not a ghost story exactly, but I do have. It was one of the strangest things that ever has happened to me, and it might be of use to somebody else. I'm not sure. Um, and that was it was about I was about 25, I think, and I was living in here in Las Vegas, New Mexico, and somebody told me that despite the fact that the highway to Santa Fe is an hour, the highway is a U shape, and it would take only it was only 30 miles to Santa Fe by air. I mean, as the crow flies, which I had never noticed before looking at a map. And I thought, well, that would be interesting to hike. That would be an interesting hike. And I wasn't a real experienced hiker. I was kind of stupid in general. And I put together a pack and some supplies, and I was wearing some army boots of my dad's, which I had never worn before. And I got my little car and I went up to Santa Fe, drove up towards the ski basin up the Hyde Park Road, and parked at some point way up there, pretty high up in the Aspens, and I climbed this huge hill, and I got to the top of this ridge. And as soon as I got up there, the first thing I noticed was a big aspen tree with bear claw marks. It looked like bear claw marks up about 8 or 10 feet on the tree. And immediately I had this vision. And it was a vision of like a spiral of sparks, or like a swastika of sparks moving around like this above my head, or above me about 3 or 4 or 5 feet, something like that. And I put it together. I felt that when I saw the bear marks, when I saw the claw marks, I thought, wow, I'm out in nature and I'm out in danger land. And I hadn't really thought of it that way until that moment. Like I say, I was just kind of very stupid and green at that point in a lot of ways. And so I saw this spiral of sparks, and I associated it with the danger that I just realized I was in, potentially. So anyway, okay, so I walked a little bit. I just had one bit of nature advice to go on. I had a map and everything. I thought I was going to figure out where I was going. But I had one bit of nature advice to follow, and that is that if you get lost, you walk downhill, because you're likely to hit a stream, and then you're likely to hit a highway of some kind. So it was getting dark. I started in the mid afternoon or late afternoon, so I didn't walk very far. It was dark. I camped out overnight. In the morning, it was cold. My feet were blistered from those stupid boots that I'd never worn before. I mean, stupid me, not stupid boots. But anyway, so I just walked down, figuring I'd hit the highway, hit a river, and I did eventually hit a road that went down into Pecos. I hitched a ride, and I hitched a ride the rest of the way back to Las Vegas. And obviously I got a ride back to my car from somebody. So anyway, it happened that this was October, and it happened that it snowed that night, that next night. So it was a good thing I got out of there. Anyway, all right, so fast forward to about 3 or 4 years. I was living in Los Angeles, and I was working one night at a hotel downtown, the Ambassador Hotel, the hotel where Robert Kennedy was shot, as a matter of fact. And I was leaving, and as I was leaving right out the hotel lobby, there was a bunch of people around who were with a movie crew that was shooting in there that night. And they were standing around. They were on some kind of break. And as I was just leaving the hotel, I saw that spiral of sparks again. And I did not make the connection at that moment. I just thought, well, that's interesting. And as I walked out of the hotel, it was dark. I mean, I was walking out to the hotel parking lot, but the lawn, the grounds between the hotel and the parking lot were not lighted. And I was walking down this sidewalk, and these two young guys were walking towards me. I had no sense of danger. I was still kind of stupid, wasn't thinking that way. And next thing I know, I was on my back on the ground in these bushes, and these two guys were standing over me. And they had knives, and they said, "Don't move, don't move." And I started saying, what is this? And they said, "Shut up." And I realized that, instinctively that they were afraid of noise. So I started screaming really loud in this very high-pitched scream that I could do when I was that age. And they got real spooked and they ran. And so then I started trying to get up, and I couldn't get up. I slowly realized I was having a hard time getting up. And I eventually was able to get up, and I was running. I ran into the hotel. I was still screaming. One of the guys in the movie crew told me later that he was a medic, and he told me later he almost decked me because I thought I was a crazy man coming into the hotel. Anyway, he informed me that my shoulder was dislocated, which is why I was having a hard time getting up. And they took me to the hotel, and they took me to the hospital, and my shoulder relocated anyway without any treatment. But it was very painful recovery. Recovering from that dislocated shoulder. Anyway, the point of the story is that I now know that if I ever see that spiral of sparks again, I will know that it's a danger sign and to stop and be careful and figure out what I'm in danger of. And maybe that's universal. I don't know. Somebody told me, in investigating this over the years, somebody told me that is where your astral chakra, is that what you call it? The one that's above you anyway, that's where your chakra is. And that's where I was seeing this thing. So that's interesting. So I'm telling you, consider that if you ever see that, you might want to stop and consider if you're in some kind of danger. And what was I going to tell you? One more thing about that. Oh yes, the only way that the way this relates to Paula's ghost story, and what reminded me was she mentioned at some point in her ghost story that she saw, I think there was something in there about seeing some bear claw marks high on a tree. I think that's what it was. Okay, that's my story, and maybe it'll be of use to you someday, somehow. Thank you.